Welcome to another edition of Tom's Real Food Podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by Wednesday's Video, cheese ravioli, provolone, hot sausage, tomato sauce. Let's get to the podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Tom Garvey, the Keto Cook. Welcome back to podcast number 5 on Tom's Real Food Podcast. What we're going to go over today is pretty easy, but we're going to look at some labels, how to read labels, because at this point, now if you started 5 weeks ago, you should be at the point right now where the keto flu is gone, feeling really good, but now you're wondering what else can I eat? And what, a little versatility. Try to change things up a little bit rather than eating the same old stuff. So now it comes into the point where now you're starting to miss some condiments. Now, if you're a ketchup user or mayonnaise and also like mustards and stuff like that, barbecue sauces. So that's the kind of stuff that you really got to be careful of. So you got to become a label reader. You got to understand what's in the label, how to understand what's going on with what you're putting into your mouth and if it's affecting you. A lot of people at this point start the weight loss stops or it stalls. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're stop losing weight. Now what happens is you're coming in, you're burning it differently, and you also are starting to lose some sizes in your clothes. You can start noticing you have to need another notch on your belt. Shirt's a little flabby on you. So the whole idea is now you got to become a little bit more diligent about what you're eating. Rather than just being carb-free, sugar-free, now you got to start watching for the hidden stuff that could come back and really play hell with you. So I always said you got to become a label reader. And sometimes that's really hard for people to understand what's in the label. I always say you got your phone, okay? Google it especially if you're looking at ingredients and you don't understand what the ingredients are. This is where you got to drill down onto what they are, because like I said before, there are 74 different types of sugar names that they use. And I'm sure there's a lot more for carbohydrates and different ways of adding, manipulating what's in in the stuff that you're looking to eat. So the big thing to me is if you're not sure, Google it, okay, and really drill down on it, and you'll understand a little bit more of well, if I have too much of this, learn what the serving size is of what you're using. Today we're going to be looking at mayonnaise. I'm going to show you in a clip later on how I make my own mayonnaise and the ingredients, and it's like only 3 or 4 ingredients to making it, rather than the one we're going to look at right now has 9 or 10 different ingredients into making mayonnaise. So a lot of it's shelf stabilizers, okay, what they are and how would they affect you. There again, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, but this is the hills and valleys that I went through starting out on a ketogenic lifestyle. And you'll learn later on down the road how to get around that or how to make different items to suit your needs as far as what you're eating. Now, if you're a salad eater, okay, olive oil and red wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar is fine. There's no problems with doing that. Some of the vegetables that you put into the salad, you have to watch, but there again, that will metabolize a little bit different than some of these harsher chemicals. I shouldn't say harsher chemicals, but different chemicals that we don't exactly know what they are. So therefore, Google becomes your best friend. And like I said before, don't fall for, you have to get this app, pay, it's just for a subscription for an app to use it to find out what you're eating. Google works just as good. Also in the condiments, when you look at like ketchup, let's bring ketchup up right now. Ketchup is very high in carbohydrates and very high in sugar. Now, carbohydrate is equal to sugar. It's another word for sugar, because what happens is in your body, carbs will metabolize as glucose. Glucose is sugar, all right? And once there's no spot for it to be used, that's when it turns into fat. So you can be very careful with that. Also, it has a high concentrate of sugar in it. The word you got to watch for is no added sugar. So when you say no added sugar, what does that tell you? It tells you that there's sugar in what you're going to be using. But there again, when you look at the ingredients, okay, and you look at the label, like I'm going to show you right now. Let's dive into this one right here. Okay, so this mayonnaise, okay, it's a store brand, okay, and when you look at it, it says nutrition facts, 128 servings per container. So that's a 64-ounce jug of mayonnaise, and its serving size is 1 tablespoon, and it says 13 grams. Remember that, 13 grams. All right. So that's per tablespoon. Calories, 90 per serving. Some people think that 90 calories is for the whole container, which is completely false. That's not the way it is. Then it gives you all your different fat, total fats, saturated fat, trans fat, polyunsaturated fat, mono saturated fat, cholesterol, sodium, total carbohydrates, 0. All right. Protein, 0. Then on the bottom, here is the key problem right here. Not a significant source of dietary fiber, total sugar, added sugars, vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. So there's not enough in this right here to be posted as far as to be put on the label. Now, what's the minimum? What's the maximum? Okay, it doesn't tell you. So if you roll over to, let me put it up here. You go over to the ingredients side, and I count 1, 2. First of all, soybean oil, not good. Water, whole eggs, and egg yolks, distilled vinegar, salt, sugar. Okay, now we just looked on the other side. No mention. The source was not enough to mention sugar or added sugar. To me, that's a problem. Okay, there's sugar in here because it's saying it's listed in the ingredients. But how much sugar is in here? All right. Rule of thumb: if you take a teaspoon of sugar, okay, so it is 4 grams to a teaspoon. So if you have a teaspoon of sand, it's 4 grams. But we're talking about sugar here. And let's just say for the hell of it right here, that the carb count, the total carbohydrates is 30. All right. So you would take 30 carbohydrates divided by 4, because there is 4 grams to a teaspoon. In this case, it's sugar. Divide that 4 into 30 comes out to 7.5, 7.5 teaspoons of sugar in that 30 grams of carbohydrates. All right. So that's a lot. 7 teaspoons. Really? Because carbohydrates turn into glucose, into sugar. So you got to be. When I found that out, I was like, "Oh man, that is completely crazy." And it goes through this whole thing here. The disturbing thing is calcium, disodium, EDTA. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. I looked this thing up. This is in case you get lead poisoning. Right? They can use this as a drug. They put it in food to take out metal. All right. So if there's a lot of mixing or something like that, you might get some metal shavings in there. How does it take it out? I don't know. It's also used as a color. It has a yellow color to it. Also, it is a shelf stabilized it says right here on the bottom here, used to protect quality, natural flavors. Okay. That to me just threw me for a loop right there. So here again, it says it has sugar. Go over to the label side. Not there. So it says 13 grams per tablespoon. All right. So but no 0 carbohydrates. So I don't know how to get away with that. This is my point that you got to be careful of. Now I have a video that I'm going to show you, a little short, that I put up many many years ago when I first started doing this of how I make mayonnaise. 1 egg, avocado oil, Greg's apple cider vinegar. Mix. Homemade mayo. Done. Second half of the podcast is brought to you by Eye of Round Beef. Roast it in the oven at 375, an hour and 20 minutes. Salt and pepper, medium rare on the inside, 135 degrees. Sliced very thin, delicious. Fairly simple, easy. Now, you can keep that mayonnaise that I just made there up to 14 days. Some people say you can go a little bit longer with it. We use it. So if we're having a salad, I'll use it, with that. Or if I make a dipping sauce for something that I'm eating, some kind of meat or whatever that I'm eating, rather than using ketchup, I became a big user of hot sauce. Now, not a lot, but there's 0 carbs, 0 sugars in hot sauce. I use Frank's hot sauce. It's one of the better ones out there, and we'll mix it with the with the mayonnaise and my homemade mayonnaise, and it's great. It has a nice taste to it. Or you can add some garlic powder to it. You can really spice up the mayonnaise right now, and it has zero carbs and 0 sugar. Now, with that said, I use avocado oil to make it. Avocado oil it doesn't have a taste. It can be a little green look, green color to it, because that's a natural color for the avocado. But the fat is healthy in it. I use the eggs, but it doesn't. My mayonnaise doesn't say cage free because I don't go roaming around the woods looking for eggs. That one got me. That one threw me for a loop with cage free eggs. Come on, you need more proof than that. It's just a ploy. The whole matter is they sell this stuff to suck people in. Same thing with net carbs. Let's get into that one again. Net carbs is not keto. There's people out there that have videos up and saying, well, I use net carbs, so that therefore it's down. The carb count is down because of fiber. Now, there's people out there who can't have fiber, don't use fiber. So what do? And how do they get around it? So that to me is just an advertising ploy for net carbs. 0 net carbs. It's any doctor you talk to say no, that's baloney. So on some of the labels, it says, net carbs, 0. But then you look at the total carbs of it. Total carbs is, like I said before, is sugar. Net carbs, minus out the, and they say that fiber will slow it down. You're metabolizing the carbohydrates and stuff like that. I find that on some people it works. I know for me, for a fact, it does not work. Also, try to get yourself into cooking. Start making some other things rather than just open up a package and put it in a pan, heat it up, or in a microwave, put it up. Learn how to cut up some meat, cook it a different way. The worst part of this whole thing is mimicking other food. Now, my pet peeve, and anybody who follows me or knows me, the thing that threw me into a tizzy was riced cauliflower. Cauliflower rice is the way they market it. I fell into that rabbit hole also. I said, let's see what this is. It's cauliflower. It's not rice. Okay, it doesn't taste like rice. Doesn't even look like rice. The whole idea was they took something very smart on their part. They capitalized on people who eat too many carbs, okay, and now started this lifestyle. Now switched it around. Well, you can have rice now from cauliflower rice. It's cauliflower cut in a different way. Tastes nothing like rice. Sometimes it'll cook up halfway. I use it many times. I have a couple videos with it. But the bottom line is, you're fooling yourself. Um, it's just not there. I mean, the taste is not there, and that's what gets very discouraging when you're trying to mimic something else to taste like. Now I used the rice cauliflower. I used it and mashed it, cauliflower mash, like mashed potatoes. It's similar, okay, but it just didn't work. It just, for some odd reason, it just did not work for me. I use it every once in a while if I want the vegetable in there, but there again, make your own way with this. Try to cook stuff and come up with your own names with it. Make you feel a little bit better rather than French fries. I used jicama one time. It's jicama, fried jicama. It's not a potato. Close, but no cigar. So, in this beginning, like we're 5 weeks into it. So far, right now, stay away from the ketchups. That's the one you really got to watch out for, because when they say no added sugar, okay, or sugar-free, there's something in there to give it that little bit sweet flavor. Or else, if I make homemade ketchup and I use different spices, fennel, I use cinnamon and stuff in there. The problem was it was good. It tasted good, but you're using as a dip for in place of ketchup, and it was nowhere near it. And that's when you start getting discouraged with it. Head game. Wait until you get yourself to the point where you can start dabbling back and see which one is going to raise your blood sugar. Now, there again, everything I'm talking about here is for type 2 diabetes. If you are diabetic, this is the stuff that you need to be doing. If you're just looking to lose weight with this program, you can dabble a little bit with, with the mayonnaises, with barbecue sauces, with ketchups and stuff. But I got to let you know, it's going to put you in a stall. You're going to wonder why. This diet's not working because I'm stalling. I'm not losing weight anymore. But it's what you're putting up here. You got to read the labels. Getting back to that label reading situation. Come up with your own different sauces and stuff that you're going to be using. I fell back onto you can make a nice like a remoulade type of thing. Garlic, crushed up garlic, lemon, okay, a little olive oil. Mince that up real good. Put it in the food processor and make that. That tastes really good. And it doesn't have to be for fish and stuff. Now I do a lot of seafood. I do shrimp. I should be doing more fish than what I do now. Okay, I use a lot of shrimp, and that seems to satisfy the craving for fish and stuff like that. There again, hear what I said? Craving. You start after a while. You don't worry too much about potatoes. I get away from that and the sweet potatoes. I do some spinach. We do broccoli. I do some green beans. Green beans you got to be careful with too. They can be a little bit high in carbs. But now once you start not necessarily counting your carbs, but if you have no ingredients and you look it up, 1 cup of broccoli is 6 grams of carbohydrates. If I'm having that with a steak or pork chop or something, that's my carb count right there. Would be 6 grams of carbs. So just got to, you got to work your way through it. I want people to start cooking more than buying stuff pre-made. That's when you run into the problem with ingredients. And once you add, like I said, 3 or more ingredients into this, that's when you start having trouble with looking at the label. So I say label free, and that's what you should eat. Your vegetables, some meats and stuff like that. Now, if you stall, go back to square one again. Just have some meat, have some proteins or fatty meats. Get yourself back into shape again, and then you can start re-adding stuff back. This is a job. This is not. I'm sitting on a couch and I'm eating, whatever, and I'm losing weight. And you got to work at this. This is, you got to exercise too. I got to stress that a little bit more. You got to walk. You don't have to go to a gym. If you want, you could. That would help. But I'm speaking to older folk right now. If you want to get up and just walk around your neighborhood or walk around your yard, that all helps. So listen, I hope I'm getting through. I hope I'm explaining myself. I get a little excited about things when I'm trying to talk, but I want everybody to understand that this is the way out. This is the way to get away from most of your heavy medications and stuff like that. There again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm living proof that I went from 14 different medications and I take 3 now. Okay, and it really helps. It really, your doctor will understand if you tell them, hey, listen, if I can, I'd like to get off some medications. I want to try a new lifestyle. I'm going to start eating a little bit cleaner. And you don't have to tell them that you're doing keto or carnivore or low carb, whatever you're doing. Just tell them you want to live a little bit cleaner lifestyle. You want to change your lifestyle. They like to hear that, and they'll be more enthused to help you. If they ask you, tell them, I'm trying that. My doctor, we had a thing in the beginning where he said, well, this keto thing is not sustainable. I said, let me try that. I'm coming to see you to pay you to talk about my health, and you're telling me it's not. Let me try it, okay? And if I don't have to see as much, I got myself to the point where I was going every 3 months. Then I went to every 4 months. Then I was at myself at every 6 months, and then I got greedy, all right? I started shoving stuff in the pie hole here that I shouldn't have done, and I knew better. That was the whole problem. I knew what I was doing wrong, and I felt sorry for myself. Oh, why can't I have this? Why can't I have that? So, I was like one Twinkie away from exploding. So you have to get yourself on track. You have to understand what you're doing to know about the ingredients and also the serving size. The serving size is a big deal. So real quick before we go, you have a squirt bottle of ketchup. Okay, now that ketchup has the little hole in the top so you can squirt it on. So say you have French fries. Not supposed to eat French fries, by the way. But if you have French fries and you're squirting it on, ketchup on, how much ketchup are you putting on? Do you really know? One shot, squeezing it on, or just keep it going, or put a big puddle in there? You have to look at the serving size. That right there can put you over the top. All right. If you were, say you were eating something that was no carb and you wanted to put ketchup on it. Squeezing that whole thing on there, you have no clue exactly what you're measuring on there. There again, you can hurt yourself, sit back, wonder why the next day, wow, I'm in a stall where I don't feel good. My blood sugar is high. That's the problem right there. So you got to watch and look at serving sizes, what the sugar count is, what the added sugar is. You're going to have a double whammy if you have a lot of carbs, sugar, and sugar added. Boy, I tell you what, that's that's not good for a diabetic. With that said, thanks everybody for watching. I really do appreciate it. Next week, we're going to get into a little bit more. We're going to get into a little bit more different foods. And I think I'm going to do I'm going to try to do a live one time. I would really like to do that. But that might be down the road. But I'd like to also cook. I also would like to show certain things that I cook, whatever. Maybe I'll just put up a little bit of video clips of what I cooked in the past, and we'll talk about that. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Tom Darby, the Keto Cook, Tom's Real Food Podcast number 5. See you next week. Thank you so much. Be safe.